that a little better?
Yeah, that's good.
This is number 15. You could start out by flipping it, but you don't have to. We'll do two variations so that you see which is convenient. But in the end, I recommend you have your D, positive D, on this side, or on this side of on the left side of the inequality, and the number on the other side. Again, you don't have to, but do a little bit of that, and then you can flip it. Now, your teacher might not be enforcing you to do that, but that means you still have to make sense of it. It depends. Okay, it depends how our teacher is teaching it. But anyway, let's start from scratch so I can see, and I'll show you like what I would do, or what your teacher may actually ask you to do or not to do. It doesn't matter, but in the end, it will make sense. You'll see. Okay, let's do 12. So 12. Okay, so I'll write the whole thing here. Negative 17, like that, right? So treat this inequality, the less than or equals to. I hope you're okay. The less than is like the L, and the other one, is shaped like an L. The other one is going to be greater than. You don't need to know the other one. Just need to know L. The one that's not shaped like an L, then it's greater than. So this is less than. I think you know that. So treat this like an equal sign. So you're going to multiply both sides by 4 over 1. So I'm doing the math now. I'll put it on this side. 4 over 1 to flip-flop. To cancel that out. So you get your 1m. You don't have to write the 1. So it's really 1m less than a negative, whatever that is, 40, 28. So it's negative 68. Let me double check. Yeah. Is that okay? So that's the answer. You don't flip the arrow yet because, not for this one at all. So anyway, let me make the screen a little bit bigger here for me. Okay. Continue on number 13. 13, okay? So I don't know.
Doing evens only.
Okay. Even? Even only? Okay, cool. That's cool. So 14. I don't know what's the big deal with that green sub bubble there, okay? 14. Negative 11 is greater than negative C over 11. Now, let me ask. I think, I think we're gonna go work on it immediately, and not to like can flip it or anything like that. You could. So I'm gonna assume that your teacher actually go ahead and work on it if this were the case. So here, let's do it. You know that 11 is in the way. We want to get the C like by itself, right? The negative actually you know what? Let me see if you're okay with this. I'm gonna do something a little bit more fancy. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 11, but over 1 if you want, okay? Negative 11 over 1. But I want to ask you, do you see why I would do that? I'm multiplying both sides by negative 11 over 1, and it looks sloppy on this, over here on this side. So let me make it easier. So multiplying both sides by negative 11. If you wonder why I parenthesize negative 11 here, is because there's a negative sign in front of it. If you actually don't write the parenthesis around it, it looks like you're subtracting. There you go. I hope you're okay with that. So why am I doing a negative 11? Because this will cancel. At the same time, this two negative will cancel out. It will become positive. If you think about it, okay? It doesn't have to be like, in front of the 11 down here. It's just that it works the way, it's a whole thing. So I hope you're okay with that. This is more advanced. Some student will do the 11 first to get rid of the denominator, but I would do the 11 and the negative at the same time. So therefore, here you go. The two negatives become positive, right? Multiply two negatives. So you're left now with just C over 1, but you don't need to write C. The inequality will be there. Negative times negative is positive on the side, but it's 121. 11 times 11, 121. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, now, oh yeah, I forgot. We have to graph this one. Sorry, number 12. It says graph the solution. So back up here. Let's kind of go finish up number 12. So the way I would do it is just that, hey, see the arrow and the variables on the left side? Guess what? You just face it exact same direction. Shade it in that direction. But you have to write the 68. I would center the 68. And if you want to do more marking, you can do it like, hey, negative 67, negative 69 on the side. I don't think you need to, but you could, and then shade it like this. See? Some teacher will put it on top. And some people put a bracket. It depends. The bracket means it's inclusive, right? It has a bar. That depends. Okay. I mean, it depends how you do it. I'll do all the all the stuff here that you can write or draw because they do that. Sometimes they do that on top. Sometimes like on the lines. You know, if it's gonna be without the bar, it'll be the parenthesis. You know, going like that or open dot like that. But we'll see that a little bit later on for sure. So anyway, for this one, here it is. Now check this out. I recommend you learn to flip it because later on will be helpful when you need it. Okay, but you don't need. See, if you want to grab this one right now, you have to grab it in the opposite direction. Imagine you see the C. If I were you, I would actually learn to flip it. Okay, here's what I recommend. Write this like you flip the whole thing. Imagine this is like a cardboard that you cut off and you flip the cardboard and you can see through it. And it'll be looking like this. Is that okay? Rewrite it like this. Why? Because if you rewrite it, you can grab it exactly the same direction. Just flip it. When you flip it, make sure you flip the arrow. It's like this is like a tape. You flip it, right? And you see why the arrow point the other way. Obviously, the
Yeah.
C and the 121 will look a little different. But anyway, so here's the graph. Open dot 121. So here, yeah, I don't think you need to write mark like do more marking like a bunch of marks. But if you want, you could like 120 over here and wait 122. This is positive now, right? Check, be careful. 120 on this side if you want. So that's the graph. Okay, but if the teacher were actually do it any other way, it will look like this with the parenthesis. That means not inclusive. This is old-fashioned graphing. Sometimes on the line, sometimes above the line, and sometimes they even put it above, like 121, like above here, like this open dot. No kidding. Okay, so it's like it depends on how you want to do it. You put on the line, it's fine. That's actually more common to me, I think. Okay, this is the answer, but I hope you see what I did. I flip it, and then graph. All right, continue. So go ahead. I think you got that right. Yes, 14, and this next one is 16. Okay, look at this one, right? Same idea. You know what? Let's don't flip the original problem. You don't want to rewrite it, right? It's time consuming a bit, but therefore just the original as is. So pretend if this were printed on the test, I would actually go ahead and write on over it, like the next step right on it. So what I mean is that pretend this is printed. I would multiply both sides by -2 over 1 if you want. -2 over 1 if you want. -2. Here again, I parenthesize the 10, so it looks like I'm not subtracting it, right? So it's going to be -2 over 1. Be neat here. -2 over 1. Multiply both sides by -2 over 1. Why? Because this will cancel negative and the 2's, right? So you're left with x by itself. Over here, it's the same thing as -2 times -10, so it's positive 20. And then I recommend you flip it so that you can graph it. Imagine you flip it, you can grab it neatly. So you flip it. The X is now on the left side. You can grab it exactly the way the arrow is pointing, the inequality, you know. So here, so it'll be 20 right here, open dot, and shade it over like that, open dot,
But yeah,
or
I
like this.
think for the inequality, I think it's
Oh,
less
you're
than
right,
or
you're right.
equal.
Equals, that's right. Thank you. So it's close dot. Good job. You're paying attention. Good job. All right. So then it'll be bracket. Have you have you seen it like the bracket, or did you teach you just use the close dots? You remember?
I think for the graphing, I think we just use the closed dot and
Good.
not the.
Yeah, this is old fashioned. Some teacher would do that. On the line, above the line, sometimes below the line, even. But I would, don't forget, write 20 here. So in college, they would not do more than this. Like 20, 21 on the other side, 19 on this side. They just do that and it's done. There it is. 18. Okay. All right. So 18, 2/3. H times H greater than 14. Okay. So multiply both sides by 3 over 2. You don't need the parenthesis here. 3 over 2. Just so that you keep it clean a little. There's no decimal number either, so the dot is fine. So you left with 1h or just h greater than. Okay, here, cross cancel. You put a 1 underneath 14. 2 can go into 14 7 times itself one time and multiply straight across. So that give you 21 over 1. You don't need the 1 on the bottom. So this is it. And then graph. Since the h is on the left side, you can graph exactly the same direction as the inequality, the arrow. So it's 21 here. Open dot this time. Right there's looks lame, but I think you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 20. Hey, you've been here. You know the weather, right? In Thailand. So that's pretty interesting. You guys, know the country. -18. Okay. So
Yeah.
same thing. I would multiply both sides by -6 so that we get rid of the negative sign as well. But the way you do it, sometimes they parenthesize the whole thing. That's up to you. Okay. So you can parenthesize the whole thing, but I just parenthesize the portion where I'm going to multiply it to get to counter it, to get a 1 out of it. So it's going to be -6. You don't need to parenthesize this one if you don't want, but I'll do it like that. And over here, I would parenthesize this. You could parenthesize 18, but since it's right behind the 8, it doesn't look like you're subtracting. The parentheses stops you from looking at it as a subtraction, problem. So everything cancel. The two negatives become positive. This gives you a 1n, so it's just n. So 6 cancel with the 6. But then you get a positive number, negative times negative, positive. That's a 60 and a 48. That's going to be 148. 108, sorry. Double check. Yeah. Okay. And then graph it below, however. Open dot, 108, and shade this direction. Since the variable, the n is on the left side of the inequality, left side of the inequality, you can shade the exact same direction. You recognize, the work I've done here, right? Like I think your teacher should have, gone over it similarly, right? The textbook too. If you want to look at the examples, if you ever looked at them, nowadays you guys just go off the notes or your teacher's work. But either way, no problem. Right? 22 for R less than 64. Okay, so go right over it, like divide both sides by 4, because you can do that. So R is less than, what is that? 18? No, 16. Yeah. Okay, so that's it, and just graph. 16, open dot, shade. And double check my math. I think that's good. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right, 24. Okay. Same here. I realize now that you don't want to recopy this, like flip flop it, unless you want to. I mean, you could flip it and then work at it, because, in the end, you kind of want your T to be on the. Okay, this time, look, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually flip the answer or even flip the original. If you flip the original, it will look like this. Okay, look. Some teacher do teach it this way. If you flip the original, it will look like this. Why? Because your objective is to have it's nice to have the variable on the left side. So this is flipped if you want to, but I don't recommend you do it. I think you don't have to. It's up to you. So divide both sides by 26, like that. So you're left with -1 on this side, less than t. Now, if you don't okay, check this out. If sometime in the future or even now, if you don't flip and have the t on the left side, and then you want to go and graph right away, you could. So have a look. So it's -1 here, but here's what you need to do differently. You have to go ahead and point the arrow in the opposite direction. You see it? It makes sense if you use your imagination. You flip the t, so it's going to go in that way. So here it is. So I hope you're okay. So if you don't flip, because you don't have the variable on the left side of the inequality symbol, therefore you have to graph pointing the arrow opposite the inequality. Is that okay? So I wanted you to see it. Sometimes they do it this way, sometimes they do it. It depends. But in the end, what it is that if you want to make sense of it, so we have some time here. Look, if you read this from left to right, okay, it's -1 less than t, -1 less than t. Okay, what does that mean if you were to graph it, right? -1 less than t. -1 less than t. See, it's not easy. It's not easy to interpret it, right? But if you actually rewrite it, flipping it, watch this. If you flip it, right, like this, it says t greater than -1. That means you graph anything greater than -1, not including -1. So greater is just, -2, I'm sorry, not -2, 0, 1, 2, 3. Remember, anything, you okay? Like anything greater than the negative number has to be going in the positive side, right? So that's why you shade all of that. That's the reasoning. But if you try to actually interpret this, it's a little more challenging. You see, yeah, it's more challenging. That's why flipping is always nice. Yeah, this is. But yeah, when you graph it, you can memorize. Hey, it's opposite. That's it. Okay, I know you got this, dude. But if you're curious, you let me know. If you like, if you wonder why and all that, you can ask. But I think you got this. All right, 26. Same idea. Notice 24, we did not divide both sides by a negative, so you don't flip it. That's a different rule. So, but this one, we're going to do that right now because you got a negative coefficient in front of the z, -3z. So here we go. So my z, I have to slash through. Okay, divide both sides by -3. Both sides by -3. So if you do that, the arrow will flip. Careful, the z is still on the right side. Hey, could you could you check? Could you check, man? Could you check the previous work? I obviously I erased them. Make sure that you please look back a little bit when you divide or multiply it by a negative. Did we flip the arrow on the other ones? Alex, check, look back, dude.
Yeah, let me see.
Sometimes I talk and I forget. This rule that you have to also apply when you multiply or divide the coefficient away. You must flip the inequality. Yeah, look back for me.
I think on 14 we multiplied with a negative and we didn't flip it.
Okay, flip that. Erase it. Flip it. There you go. Man, I knew it. So yeah. Okay, this one, I'll go ahead and fix 14. 14 right away. This one, again, I recommend you actually flip this. Wait, let's talk about this. You flip the arrow. The first flip came from you dividing by the negative. Okay. Look, this one is kind of fancy, but it's not a big deal. The flip that you've done here is not based on the graphing or anything that, like we were talking about to make it convenient. You flip this because you divide by or multiply by a negative number. That means this is the first flip. It's independent, it's separate from this flip that we're doing right now. Check it out. I'm flipping this now for graphing. Is that okay? So I'm flipping it again for graphing reasoning. Okay, this is separate. It's not the same. It's not the same flipping. Okay, we got two independent flipping. So here, and then we graph. So I hope you're okay. Yeah, this is number 26. I recommend you put a star, or if you want to come back and study it. Divide by a negative, you flip the arrow, no matter the inequality. And then if you want to graph, if the variable is on the right side, you kind of want to make it on the left side. You should. So make it easy. And then you can graph it. I know it's like two flipping here. So here we go. So graphing is 11. There you go. So for sure now. Okay. Back to 14 quickly. So by looking at 14, the answer is, we were doing it dot, dot, dot. The answer will be 121. First of all, yeah, the step, it will be less than C. Is that okay? In between the steps? And then you can flip it again. So that means the graph that you had was right. Did you know that? You want to look at it again? You want me to go back? Number 14. Look back at 14, okay? Let me do it again. I'm sorry, dude. I apologize. Yeah, I didn't look at it carefully. So here's the 14 original. So if you multiply both sides by negative 11, you want to get negative 11 so you can get rid of this negative and the 11 at the same time. So negative 11. So if you do that, right, I'll group that too. Cancel, cancel, negative cancel also. I'll flip, let me do it. Yeah, negative cancel. So you left, here's what I got so far, right? The composite, you okay? And then I flip again for graphing reasoning. So for graphing purposes. So yeah, number 14, put a star in that. You want to come back and now you can graph. So that means the original graphing was correct. it's just, okay. It's coincidental. Okay. So it's open dot 121. So it was right. The graph. So I'm sorry. Fix it if you need to. Okay. Erase. If I told you to flip a graph the other way, just erase it and keep the graph as is, how we had it before. I know it's like, oh, and you'll get used to it. Okay. But this is good for reasoning, like practice multi-step, work, so that you don't. That's what math is. You want to prep for something more elaborate later on, like stuff that Lewis is doing and beyond that. Oh my gosh, yeah. So that's why you got it. You got to be able to handle it, right? Like, oh, this one and that one or whatever. Right. All right. Let's move on. We got 26, 28. You get that? Okay, Alex. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 28. All right, negative 2d less than 5 is the original. Okay, no big deal. Divide both sides by negative 2. So cancel the negative and the 2. So d is greater than, now we flip based off the rule of dividing or multiplying of negative in an inequality, okay, in an inequality problem. So it becomes greater than negative 5 halves. You can put the negative back in the middle now. Yeah, it's a fraction, but the whole thing is still a negative fraction divided by negative 2. So put a negative, elevate the negative right in the middle a little bit, or you can put it up in at 5. But normally they don't leave it in the denominator. How about that? But the whole thing is now a negative fraction. Okay, now let's see. Since d is already on the left side, you can graph it. Now tell me if you confused or anything. Let me know. Okay, so yeah, but it's not a big deal. So open dot 5 half, negative 5 half is right there. You see, look at that, how easy. That's why it doesn't matter if it's negative fraction or whatever. You're still going to point the arrow. If you have the variable on the left side of the inequality, you're good to go. There you go. That looks not so great, but it's an open dot arrow pointing to the right and negative 5 halves on the bottom. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the other page, I guess, right?
So it's 35 to 38 Oldham.
All right, let's see. So they kind of want you to match, yeah, 35, all of them. I don't know why I circle them. Now I kind of like write it with the parentheses. I think I saw the green bubble triggered me to bubble all the numbers. Anyway, okay. All right, so this one, you know what? Let's just work on it. I would work on it to be firm, but sometimes you don't need to. You're comfortable with your fractions as like approximate, because the graph is not, you can't really see it precisely. They don't divide them in thirds or whatever. and decimal too. So anyway, I would do it. I just for practice. Let's actually show the work here, or for 35. All right. So multiply both sides by negative 3/2. Negative 3/2. So negative negative cancel, positive, and then these becomes 1. So it's really gonna 3 can go into 3 one time, 2 can go into 2 one time. So 1 over 1, it's going to be 1. So it's just h. You don't need to write the 1. But over here, oh, you multiplied, you have to flip the arrow. But so I'm writing that first now. There's no cross canceling that can be done. So just multiply straight across, it'll be negative 27 over 2. The arrow is flipped because you multiply by a negative number here on both sides, negative fraction. So you flip the arrow based on that rule, and now graph. So how do you do the graphing? Well, the arrow still can go this way. You see how convenient. That's why, because you got the variable on the left side. Always going to work, right? It's always going to work. But then you only thing you have to do is interpret what is negative. So it's going to go this way, including. So I'm prepping for it right now. But this here, this is what the 2. It's going to be negative. Convert that into a mixed number. 2 can go into 27. How many times? 16 times. Wait, is that true? No. 13. About 13 times. And 1/2. Is that right? Yeah. So you look for 13, a little bit like 13.5. Okay. I'll let you look at this and you tell me. And if you wonder why, I'll talk you through it. So which is it? Is A, B, C, or D?
B.
Say it again.
B.
Yes, but why is it looking like that? Remember, you have to cross over a little bit, to get to 14. That's why it's a half. Like you see that before you get to 14. But yeah, so it is B for sure. It's right halfway. But then you see the arrow. Why is it pointing that way? Because the H the variable is on the left side. It's always going to work. So yeah. So yeah, there it is. 13.5, 13.5. There you go. All right. Next one, 36. You can do process elimination eventually, right? I would leave it for the last one, but let's continue showing the work here. All right, divide both sides by 25. So J greater than 8 over 25. Well, check this out. This is a fraction that is less than 1, right? Wait, the graph. Let me prep the graph right now. There's some reasoning here you can do. I think you already know the answer, but let's talk through it just in case there were like multiple problems that it's like so close to each other and all that. So this one, if I was to graph, right, it will point the exact same direction as the inequality. So here, close dot, and it will go that way. So it's still gonna go to the. You already know the answer, dude, because it's A, and it's less than 1. A lot less than 1, 8/25. So yeah, so it's A. That's why this is helpful with the variable being on the left side. It helps out to identify, where is it pointing right away. So yeah, 8/25 here. You can show the work. But anyway, it's A. Well, that's cool. I'll continue. This is likely going to be only one that you need to do if you want to speed things up. And obviously the last one. Anyway, 37. Or if you want to do it, you can do 38. But since they're both decimal, let's just deal with it. 3.6p less than negative 4.5. So divide both sides by 3. Wait, let me double check. Yeah, 3.6. 3.6. So P is still less than a negative number. But we'll figure out what that is. So I'll be looking at the graph this way first. It's open dot and it's going this way. So they're both open dots. Right. Look at that. Open dot open. Yeah. Now, which one is it? Well, you can look at it right now. The numerator is greater than the denominator. So that's going to be like, you can think of it, hey, 4 over 3. That's like a negative 1 and something. That means it's D. Do you see it? You don't have to
Yeah.
literally, you can do long division if you want. So it's going to be D for this one. You could even write what I wrote here. Your teacher will be, hey, good reasoning. Good for you. So anyway, whatever this is. So it's D. It's a negative D, a negative number. Therefore, the other one is C. But shall we do it just in case? 38. I think your teacher may want you to do it. 12.3 less than negative 5t. So divide both sides by negative 5. But the next step, you write it by hand. You don't have to worry about, normally in the book, they'll flip it right away. They'll flip it probably like right now. While they print the negative to both sides, this will be flip it if you look at the example. But since this is by hand, you can flip it right here in the next step. So it become positive t, and this become a negative number. But since the numerator it's less than the denominator, it's going to be less than 1. You see, that's why it's C. Is that okay? It's less than negative 1. I'm sorry. So it's C. There you go. Now, I don't know if your teacher want you to actually do the, division precisely. You could use the calculator if you want, but it's not a big deal. Okay. All right. Anything else here?
No.
Okay. We have a little time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something fancier with the inequality. Okay. So I hope you got that. So I'm going to jump ahead here. I believe the next assignment may be something similar to this. Check this out. Okay. I'm making this up. So it's still going to be inequality based. So take a look. So I'm doing something like this. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll do something more fancy. Oops. So have a look. So what I expect you to be doing next is going to be something fancier. So here we go. 5 minus 8x greater than. No kidding. Check this out. Another x in this inequality on both sides. So x plus 4. Okay, look at this. So this will be what you will likely be doing next. Okay, how would you do it? Okay, this is where you now can dictate. You can dictate what side is the variable is going to be. Obviously, you want to bring it on this side, on the left side, right? This is the right side. So therefore, what some of your classmates will do is add both sides by 8. If you do that, could you see that the x now going to be transferred over on the right side? You see that?
Yeah.
I recommend you don't do that. You force yourself to deal with it literally. So you don't want to do this. There's nothing wrong with it, but you got to flip it later on. So that means you now have a heads up on what you can do. So that, like you can dictate. So you don't have to actually do the easy math is add both sides by 8x, but it's still going to kind of be about the same amount of work if you were to flip it later on, so if you want to flip it, sometimes some of you guys may memorize that, hey, the variables on the right side, they grab opposite. Let's say you have to grab here too, so that means I would actually do this, subtract both sides by x. Yeah, you just watch me do this. Okay, the inequality, still don't flip it. We didn't divide, we didn't multiply. Careful, look at, there's some stuff going on here. You might get confused. I subtract both sides by x. Not 8. I subtract both sides by x. I did not multiply, or I did not divide. Therefore, the arrow is still going to be pointing in the same direction right now. So this cancels. Treat this like an equal sign right here. Think about it, okay? Equal sign. So therefore, you're just left with 4 on the right side. And this side, it looks like this. It's 5 minus 9x. I made this up. It's okay so far? And then you still want to keep this. You will still want to keep this on the left side. Be careful. Don't forget, okay? Don't always think this. The minus something, minus 9x, this negative belongs to the 9. It belongs to the the thing right behind it from left to right. So this is going to be attached. This negative is going to be attached to the 9x. You okay with that? So you subtract both sides by 5. But you still have negative 9x. Could you tell me if this part is okay with you? Like right here? You okay with that? Like you know that this is how to be done. This negative will not go away. Is that okay? That
Yeah.
belongs to the 9. So yeah, I hope you're okay with that by now, because this could be a common error to some student here. So this is going to give you -1 here so far. And here we go. Continue. Last step. Divide both sides by -9. Divide both sides by -9. Cancel, cancel. X. Flip. Now in the book, if this were an example, it would have been printed flipping right here already. Okay, but right now you've done everything by hand, so it's acceptable for you to do it here in the next step. So it's 1/9. There it is. So this is the final answer, and then you can graph it perfectly. You know, like 1/9 here, open dot, and shade in the same direction, since the variable is on the left side already. So there you go. It is coming up for sure. Okay, it's very common. So yeah, I wanted you to see that. Okay, all right, dude. You don't have to do the word problems or anything, right?
No.
Okay. All right, Alex. We can call it. Okay. I'll see you Thursday. Okay. All right. Take care, Alex. Thanks for your attention. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.